Welcome back. Well, it won't be long before we're wondering who's going to be winning the Tonys. We have 3 nominees with us right now. Let's take a brief look, though, at the history of the Tony Awards. South Pacific, 1950, Best Musical with Ezio Pinza and Mary Martin. The King and I, 1952, Best Musical with Gertrude Lawrence and Yul Brynner. Hello, Dolly, 1964, Best Musical, Carol Channing. Fiddler on the Roof, 1965, Zero Mostel Maria. And Chorus Line, 1976, Best Musical. And last year, Big River, 1985, Best Musical. With us, hoping that they'll be added to that list in the future, we have a friend of mine, one of the great dancers and performers around, Maurice Hines, who is nominated for Best Actor in a Musical. His musical, Uptown It's Hot. Let's have a nice welcome for Maurice, please. And here is Patty Cohenauer, nominated as Best Featured Actress in a Musical, The Mystery of Edwin Drood. Patty? And Cleavant Derricks, nominated for Best Actor in a Musical for his role in the Bob Fosse musical, Big Deal. All right. And also with us is Ellis Nassour, who is a writer, media, and broadcast journalist, written for the New York Times, Daily News, written a biography on Patsy Cline, and also a frequent contributor to Broadway magazines. Good to have you with us. Now, first, are you two guys getting along okay? You're nominated up against each other.
Well, we don't really know each other that well, but I respect him tremendously. And
Same
I
here.
him in Big Deal, and he's wonderful.
So you're being friendly.
Well,
right?
we've always been friendly. Sure.
No, because, you know, sometimes it creates that kind of tension because it's important, I guess, to get this award. I mean, it really, unlike in film sometimes where you could get an Academy Award and then for some reason not get work. But the Tonys really do add a tremendous luster to your career.
They do?
They do?
Actually, you know, it's funny. I was on the train coming back from Washington with Ron Richardson, who, of course, won the award last year for Big River.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And Ron, and that's very real and very honest, got nothing from it.
No?
No, nothing. The Tony Award does not help you, as far as I'm concerned, if you're black in theater.
Really?
No, it definitely doesn't.
Do
No.
you agree with that, Cleavant?
Well,
I'd rather ask you than Patty.
Well, in my situation, it was somewhat different. I think that it has helped me somewhat in as far as the type of money that you want to make.
Because
Broadway.
you got a Tony and a Drama Desk Award for Dreamgirls.
For Dreamgirls, yes. And I think, though, it's really not. I agree with Maurice. I agree. I think that if you are talented, and that's what counts.
Yes.
Basically, in this business, in theater, in film, whatever. If you're talented, if you're wonderful to work with, if you have a lot to offer, if you can make money for producers, you work.
You making money for producers, Patty?
Yeah, we're doing all right now.
I think so. It's a wonderful
Those
show.
nominations really helped us.
They really do help the general business.
They generate a lot.
Let me turn the clock back. What's the history of the Tony Awards? It's Antoinette Perry.
Yeah, well, I guess most people wonder, why do they call it Tony Awards?
Yeah.
Her name was Antoinette Perry, and everybody called her Tony. That was the nickname. She was started as an actress, then became a producer and director, and I guess she took chances in theater for a woman. She brought Strictly Dishonorable to the stage at a time when that was considered scandalous, and she was the producer and director of Harvey. And Brock Pembleton was her co-producer, and Tony died in 1946. And everybody was trying to think, what do we do as a tribute to this woman? And someone said, well, let's name an award after her. And that's how it all started.
It's amazing, the history of the way things go like that. In the past, have Tonys saved shows where the show's just about to sink? What would a couple of examples of that?
Big River wouldn't be around today if it hadn't been for
true.
And that was a bad season, too. I mean, Big River, I guess it's not fair to say this, but Big River almost won by default because there was even a rumor that there would be no award for musicals that year.
There have been some other Broadway awards which have not made nominees in the musical category.
Before the show, we were talking about the fact that Sunday in the Park with George didn't win. It won the Pulitzer Prize, but it didn't win the Tony. Lacage won.
Right, no, that was a very competitive year that year.
I don't think Lacage would still be running today if it hadn't been for all the Tonys it won. I mean, it had a good track record.
It gives a musical a certain kind of validation, I guess, in the public's eyes.
It makes it so visible for the tourists that are coming in. They see it on TV, the publicity value of actually winning the Tony for the best musical. So they want to see it.
if it hadn't won the,
Yeah.
9 winning the Tony Awards up against Dreamgirls. I mean, everybody was rather stunned at that, but 9 probably lasted on Broadway another 8 months as a result of winning the Tony.
Let's just review parts a little bit. What are you doing? What is your part in
What is my part?
Yeah.
I portray a character by the name of Charles Lightning Waters. He wants to achieve something in life. He has no idea really what it is, but it takes place during the Depression years. But he starts out as being a boxer. That doesn't work. And what happens is that he gets wind of a safe that's in a pawn shop. And he tries to pull it off, tries to rob this safe. And the whole show is about he getting 4 other guys together to try to pull off this big deal.
This little heist, which is
Yeah.
not really a big deal. It's kind of a small heist, but for him, it's
a big deal. And for those particular times, it was a big deal. Yeah.
I think what makes it fun is that everything goes wrong for you, though. You're the
Every
biggest
single
bungler,
thing
too.
goes wrong.
Yeah, it's comedy. And how about your role?
Rosa Budd and Deidre Peregrine, I play. It's a play within a play. We're music hall players portraying these
Right.
parts, the mystery, presenting Mystery of Edwin Drood. I basically play the virginal query. I'm chased for 2 hours by these crazy, the villain is Jasper and Edwin is kind
But
of in the
Edwin
middle
Drood
of it all.
has this great audience interaction, which I think is...
Oh yeah, I mean you have to do the plot of the first act. We present the mystery, and then when we get into the second act, it just ends and we begin the voting, and the audience really does decide. It's not a gimmick. I mean, we really do go by what the audience decides. Everybody keeps asking if it's real that the endings change, but it does every night. You never know.
That's a terrific angle.
Isn't it wonderful?
Yeah. Tell us about what your part was.
Yes, because Uptown Is Hot did close.
Uptown It's Hot.
Well,
is
my
not.
part was really that I conceived, directed, and choreographed it. That's what it was. And it was my thank you. It was like a big thank you card to all the great black performers and paying tribute to them that made it possible for me and artists like myself to be here by paying their very heavy dues that they had to pay and to say, hey, thank you very much. I remember Lena Horne came to see the show in Washington, and she came back and thanked me, and she said, because so few people, the young kids, forget about John Bubbles, or they forget about Ethel Waters, or they forget about me. She said, Lena is very real, And she said, and I
tough to be
came,
forgetful.
I mean, it's impossible for me. I mean, she's flawless. And she came back, and I really was very excited about her giving that kind of support for the show because it was about the people that she knew and loved.
Yeah, absolutely.
And she said you did it with honesty, and that was what was important to me at the time.
The last time you were here, Maurice, I remember we were talking about the fact that the show was going to close, but you were going to try to keep it floating in other
Yes.
locations. Have you been successful in doing that?
People do want it, but they don't want it without me. And I'm moving on to other projects. I'm getting ready to do a television series, and I'm traveling this summer, which is wonderful for me. Where
are you going?
I'm going to Las Vegas, but I'm traveling with Dominique Devereaux. Diane Carroll, it's wonderful. And Roberta Flack and Andy Williams this summer.
That'll be great.
It's wonderful. I can't wait to do it. And this Tony nomination was very unexpected for me as far as I was concerned. And it was a wonderful send-off. I'm very grateful for it because I will not be coming back to Broadway for a long time.
Really?
No.
You want to be sought out for Broadway,
No,
right?
no, I'm going back to the community. I'm going to buy a theater in Harlem.
No kidding.
I'm doing a lot of work up there, and I'm going to, with the New Heritage Theater, and I'm going back to the community because that's where I learned everything was at the Apollo Theater, and I want to give my talent and what I'm about back to the community. So I'm going back to it.
Don't you also think winning that nomination will give you the prestige and help you?
To me, the nomination, I mean, if you're going to go back to Harlem, the Tony nomination doesn't help me there.
I bet it helps you in the long run.
It helps, of course.
Yeah,
I'm very happy for it.
Right, we said you
know,
were-
very
said you were
grateful.
shocked.
It's a great honor.
Very
It's great
grateful.
prestige for your career. I think.
What about
Yes.
for the other two of you? What are some of the other crossover opportunities? I mean, you're obviously both terrific stage performers, and most people say they start on the stage, they love the stage, they return to the stage. This is their life, this is their blood. Do you have other clear-cut goals for movies and televisions and things?
Well, actually, I'm working on some art songs for an album. I'm very excited about them, so I'm going to be doing that for the next few months, and I'm kind of...
What kind of art songs?
Art songs, yes. Yeats, Hess poetry, music by John Aschenbrenner.
I'll wait for the music
Yeah.
video on this.
Yeah.
How about you, Clement?
Well, I've experienced film the past 3 to 4 years since I've been working with Broadway. And there is a possibility for a chance for me to get to record this year. So I'm working with that. I'm going back to my music, which is what I started out with before I even got into Broadway.
Yeah.
So I'm going back to my music and to record.
For the three of you, based on not just what you're working on, what you're nominated for, but your life's history on the stage, what's the most difficult thing for each of you personally in terms of hitting the mark every night and giving the very best performance you can give on a consistent night, week, month after month basis?
I gotta be real. I don't have
There's
any
no one
difficulty.
thing.
There's
You
no
do it.
difficulty at all.
No, because we
enjoy it.
We love theater. When we go out there, when I go out there, I can't wait to get out there. I mean, the people, as we all
right.
know, they're different every night.
Every
Yeah.
night, it's
Each night is a
absolutely-
different type of feeling and atmosphere you get from an audience.
That's fabulous.
And your cast.
I want to wish you all big good luck, okay?
Thank you
Thank you.
very
Thank you.
much.
Absolutely.
Thanks
Thank you
having
for
us.
coming. And thank you for being here. We'll return right after this with a very special story. We'll be right back.